First of all, welcome everyone to the 2026 Food Summit. It's an honor to be here with all of you. I can see farmers in the room. We have faith leaders, we have students, we've got educators, public health professionals are here as well. People who I've met and some of you who I've yet to meet, and I'm looking forward to meeting you during the Food Summit. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alex Rosales. I'm a professor at the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, and I co-direct the Center for Sustainable Agriculture and Rural Advancement. So I teach classes, I do some research around organic agriculture, and I also lead a small 5-acre farm here in Edinburgh called the Hub of Prosperity, which we would welcome you guys to visit. I teach a number of different classes, so a lot of the stuff I'm going to share with you today is some of the things that we're discussing in my courses. There's some students here in my courses, and in fact, one of my classes is having their class here today. So I want to start with this very simple but unsettling idea. This idea that the food system that we have is not at all broken. It's actually producing exactly what it was designed to produce. There's a quote by a guy by the name of Edward Deming who said that systems are perfectly designed to get the results they get. And that actually is a focal point of a book that we're reading. We have a book club. We're reading this book by Nicole Savita called Feeding Each Other, thanks to a suggestion of one of our advisory council members, and really asks the reader to think about, first of all, what is our food system, and what is it designed to do, and who is it designed to serve? So we're reading another scholar by the name of Donella Meadows. She wrote a book called Thinking in Systems, and she defines a system as made up of 3 things. The first thing is that it's made up of elements, and in a food system, these are our farmers, the crops, the people, the market. A system's also made up of interconnections, which are the relationships, the supply chains, policies that we might have around food. But really what defines a system is when these connections and elements get together, it's the purpose of that, which is the goal of the system and what is actually achieving. And this right here is the critical insight. The purpose of a system is not what it says it does, but what it actually consistently produces. So what does the RGV food system produce? Well, in the Rio Grande Valley, what I think it produces is a paradox. As you guys might know, we are among the most agriculturally productive regions in the entire US. And yet, we don't have access to that food. We are one of the regions with our large land ports here and far and elsewhere. We feed the nation. Yet we have families and farm workers who struggle every day to feed their own. To feed their own. And we have deep traditions of food and bounty, and yet we see in the Rio Grande Valley a continuing rise of food-related diseases. And we also have a regional history with a foundation of agriculture, and yet we are losing farmers and farm acreage at an unprecedented rate. The last 5 years, for example, we've lost almost 20% of farms in Hidalgo and Cameron County. And so those statistics, that's not a glitch. That's the outcome of a system primarily designed for efficacy, for scale, and for profit. And not what I think we're gathered here for, to imagine a food system that's designed for nourishment and for community well-being. So at the Food Summit, we remind ourselves that food is not just a commodity, it's a relationship between people and lands, a relationship between you and the person sitting next to you, and a relationship between neighbors and communities. And unfortunately, like our current food system, those relationships aren't really present. They've turned food into a transaction. So you come out and you get breakfast, and you might not realize that this breakfast was made by a local vendor. The food that you'll eat at the reception on Thursday, we try to find someone who's willing to cook food procured from the region. And so when food becomes purely transactional, something else happens. We stop asking, well, who grew this? Where is it from? Under what conditions was it grown? And what was the cost of it? Not just in terms of what I'm paying, but in terms of the cost to land, to water, and to the people who work that land. And what ends up happening, all we ask is, how cheap is it? And how fast can I get it? And what Meadows calls this is a pattern that she calls success for the successful, which it's where those with resources just get more resources and those without fall further behind. And we see this, right, in the valley and everywhere, where large-scale operations get subsidies and they have access to infrastructure and markets, and where small and local producers struggle to compete and survive. And where communities get so disconnected from the food that we grow and harvest ourselves, and we become dependent on these distant supply chains. And over time, the food system locks that in. Not because individuals intend harm, but that's just the way that the structure of the food system rewards it. Now, the good news is that here in the Rio Grande Valley, there are already seeds planted for a different food system. And you'll see it today in the presentations. You'll see it today about hearing from local farmers. And you'll see it today from students who work in school gardens, from educators who are teaching around regionally relevant examples of agriculture. You're going to hear about made-from-scratch cooking in schools. You're going to hear from faith leaders around feeding and organizing their congregation and their public. These aren't side projects. They're elements and interactions of a food system, of a different food system already at work. They're what we call, and what Meadows calls, leverage points. Places in a system where small changes can create a bigger change to the identity of our system. So what we want in this food summit is to go deep into that concept. We want to build relationships and coordinate across sectors. That's why you'll see a panel with a farmer and a food distributor and a technical service provider having these discussions. We want to make sure that the voices of those that are historically excluded from these conversations are included. That's why you're going to see a panel about student engagement in agriculture and food systems, about farm work here in the valley. And we want your help to redefine what a successful food system means. Not as yield or as profit or as cost savings, but on the well-being of the people sitting in this room and in our communities. So this gathering is just a chance for us to share ideas. It's not just a chance for us to share ideas. It's our chance to begin reshaping that food system, cultivating the seeds that have already been planted, because we know by what we study is that new systems form when new relationships form, when the new stories are told, and these new norms take hold. So this is my challenge to you guys as participants. Every conversation that you have with someone else is part of that process. And every connection that you make with someone new is a new connection, a new interconnection in that system. And every story that you tell are stories that will elevate a shift into what's visible, what's possible, and what's valued. So I'll leave you with this. If our current food system is producing exactly what it was designed to produce, then the question is not how we fix it, but how do we work together to redesign it? And that redesign begins with relationship. So I want to challenge you to think about how we see each other these next couple of days, how we value food, how we listen, how we define what it means to truly nourish a community, And I can tell you that from the countless conversations that I've had with some of you guys in this room, I think we already know how we best feed each other. And the work ahead is about how we build that system together and how we honor the truth that we share today and tomorrow. Okay, well, thank you. And I look forward to meeting each of you guys throughout these next couple of days. I wanted to also acknowledge the folks, our hosts, Region 1. So this beautiful building and this beautiful event was coordinated with close collaboration, in fact, close leadership from Region 1. I would like to invite Dr. Dan King to give us a welcome on behalf of Region 1 as our host. Dr. King serves as the Executive Director of Region 1, the Educational Service Center, and he has been a long-time public school superintendent. And he was named the 2006 State Superintendent of the Year by the Texas Association of School Boards, and he has earned numerous state and national distinctions through his career spanning over 4 decades. He was the superintendent of PSJA, where the district made tremendous progress on some of the most significant changes facing education. We actually worked together while he was there at PSJA, trying to reimagine how to partner with UTRGV on shaping the future of our Valley students. His work at PSJ, they were able to reduce the number of annual dropouts and increase the 4-year graduation rate. He also led Hidalgo ISD for 8 years, which a district that had been one of the most lowest performing schools in Texas, and then became the first early college school district in the nation. That year, Hidalgo won the HEB Excellence in Education Award as the most outstanding school district in Texas. And in 2007, U.S. News and World Report named Hidalgo High School as the 11th best high school in the country and the #1 high school in Texas. So those are just some examples of the influence that Dr. King has had shaping education here in the Valley. He's a critical component to helping us reimagine this food system. And I would like to welcome Dr. King to give a few words to this audience.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you for that very clear presentation of the purpose of this, which is to really look at how can the system be redesigned. And it's very, very important, and just want to welcome everyone here. It takes everyone working together to redesign the system because no one person or organization has control of all of the elements of the system. So it's working together and cooperating. And I don't have to tell you the importance, number one, for the health and well-being of our students and our families to have access to good nutrition. And we know that what's grown locally is more than likely to be the freshest and be of very high quality. Often our farmers are often shipping sometimes the highest quality produce, for example, to other places because they can get, because of prices, right? And so our system is kind of designed, as Alex said, on high emphasis on economics. Can we keep the economic advantages while bringing the nutritional advantages to the community, and while keeping the Valley's history, agricultural legacy alive and strong, and keeping our local farmers, our small farmers, keeping them, that industry viable. You know, I grew up, I've been in the business a long time. I'm in my 70s. So when I grew up as a child, the Valley was, agriculture and the Valley were pretty much just synonymous, right? Very different from today, where agriculture still plays a strong role. But I grew up working in the fields in the 1960s in the fields, mostly cotton fields, but also cabbage and tomato and other vegetables. My father had a small farm that wasn't his vocation, it was his avocation, but he had 3 or 4 acres that he planted every year. And we had a family garden about twice as big as this stage, where there were vegetables growing year-round, a great variety. And so we ate from that. And in those days, farmers often allowed gleaning before they plowed the fields. And so we often gleaned from other farms. And so I can remember my mother, one of the things that she did all year round was canning vegetables in the mason jars. And so we had shelves and shelves of mason jars of locally grown from ourselves and from farmers, and purchased from the store, and taking what was in season and finding a way to have it be able to benefit us all year round. So want to thank the university and the other higher ed institutions that were here. When I was at PSJ, we did have great partnerships with that, which I think have continued. And here at Region 1, we've been working to build that and scale that around the region. Also to the farmers and to the others that are in the food distribution business and so forth. And so partnerships with different farmers, or even with corporations such as the wonderful corporation that, again, we've had partnerships with, and the educators and the nutritionists, the nonprofits, everyone here working together. How can we have a better region, a better valley? How can we have healthier students, healthier families? How can we promote sustainable, not only sustainable farms in terms of all the sustainability initiative and healthy growing and all of that, but also sustainable as a way of life, where individuals from the valley can earn sustainable living from owning farms or having different kind of positions in the local food industry. So I want to thank you again for coming. Really look forward to what can come out of this, and just encourage everyone to continue pushing forward. I want to thank the team here at Region 1 for all the work that they've done to help, and then everyone else here that's had any part of this. And so, again, thank you very much.